And oftentimes I'm like, when people say, oh, go do crossword puzzles, go and read books and, do these mind games and play these games or whatever and stuff to exercise your brain. And I'm thinking, doesn't your job already challenge your brain enough? For most people, they're already under a lot of stress at their job. Their brain is already being challenged a lot at their job, right? So what I recommend is, if you're going to try to build mental resilience, first, pick a goal that's actually meaningful to you. Hey guys, Aaron Kupitz, personal trainer, Functional Aesthetics EC, helping average guys perform better inside and outside the gym. So today we're talking about the 75 Hard Challenge. This was brought about in 2019 after a discussion between an entrepreneur named Andy Frisella and the Iron Cowboy. Forget what his actual name is, but anyway, they were talking about how the value in doing hard things and building up mental toughness, mental resilience, and it was predicated on the Ironman triathlons, right? So an Ironman, I believe, is about a 100-mile bike ride, but you start out first with like a 2-mile swim, and then you hop on the bike and you ride 100 miles, and then you finish it off by running a full marathon, 26.2 miles. And this guy, the Iron Cowboy, he did 50 Ironmans in 50 days in 50 different states. And so they're having this conversation, and Andy Frisella really took this to heart, and so then he decided, hey, let's go create this 75 Hard Challenge. Now the thing is, with guys, we tend to really get motivated and pumped up by doing epic things, doing things that are outside the realm of ordinary. I don't believe there's too many guys that want to be just average. A lot of guys, they want to be extraordinary. They want to do things that are impressive. And so we're very motivated when we see these kind of things. The downfall of this is that oftentimes we will bite off more than we can chew, and because we'll look at something and oh, that looks really cool, and then we won't do a reality check of assessing where we currently are versus where we want to be. And so I'm going to discuss the pros and cons of the 75 Hard Challenge, and first and foremost by describing what is the 75 Hard Challenge, what do you have to do, what are the tenets of it, and then say what I like about it, say what I don't like about it, and give my insights into what I would do differently about it. All right, so there are 5 different steps inside of the 75 Hard Challenge. First and foremost, it is, like the name implies, 75 days. So for 75 days, you have to commit to this regimented structure. Number 1, you got to adhere to a diet. Number 2, it doesn't matter which diet it is, right? So it can be, a Mediterranean diet, a paleo diet, the DASH diet, it can be a vegan diet, vegetarian diet, keto diet. Doesn't really matter what it is, as long as you are holding yourself accountable to following through and sticking to a diet. Because this is about, again, this challenge is about building mental toughness, building discipline, and this is what it's about, right? So number 2, you have to drink at least 1 gallon of water per day, okay? Number 3 is you have to do 2 workouts a day, 2 45-minute workouts per day. So one of them has to be outside. So if it was me, I'd probably do some lifting, and then I'd go for a run or a bike ride or something like that. But it doesn't have to be a super difficult workout. I mean, you could do yoga, you could go for a walk or whatever, but you have to do 2 45-minute workouts per day. The next part of the challenge is you have to do some form of personal development, right? So you have to read at least 10 pages of a non-fiction book, something that is in the personal development space. He has a list of different books that they recommend. One of the books on that list I think definitely deserves a place. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is one of my favorite books of all time. It's actually a book that you probably want to read over every single year, and because it's so dense with information that it takes time to actually begin to actually apply that to your life. If you just read it through once, you probably forget it. It takes time, repetition to actually instill that information. And lastly, you're going to take progress pictures. You want to see how your body is changing over the course of this time period. All right, so what are my initial thoughts on the 75 Hard Challenge? Well, my initial thoughts are that it's probably not the best strategy for achieving your fitness goals. If you use it for the intended purpose of increasing mental resilience, increasing mental toughness, and building discipline, then yes, it's a great strategy to follow. But whether or not this will actually work for you in terms of achieving, improving your life or achieving your fitness goals, really comes down to where are you currently at right now. Because if you start out and you're doing nothing, right, you're just kind of like eating whatever you feel like whenever you want, you're not regularly exercising, and you're not doing any form of personal development on a regular basis, then going from 0 to 60, like this program, and trying to commit unwaveringly for 75 days to this thing is going to be a recipe for disaster. So the second area that I take issue with in the 75 Hard Challenge is the area of that, again, as I alluded to at the beginning, it's not particularly setting out for any specific goal, right? So if you're trying to build mental toughness and mental resilience, great, that's fine. It's probably going to help you do that most definitely, right? But if you're trying to get in better shape, even though you're working out twice a day, you have to stop and look, because like one of the biggest fallacies in the fitness industry, and especially among people who don't exercise regularly, is that they think if I work out more, I'm going to get in better shape. Well, better shape for what? First, you have to start out by deciding what exactly is the goal that I'm training for, right? Or am I training for aesthetics, or am I training for performance? And I've talked about this in other videos before, right? If you are an Ironman triathlete, right, there might be some days of training where you're training for 6 or 7 hours in a day, right? And so you're going to need to be eating for performance. So you're going to have a diet strategy that allows you to get at least as much calories as you are burning off, and then maybe a little bit more to help with repair and recovery, right? On the other hand, if your goal is, I want to have a six-pack on the beach for summer, then you need to have a completely different strategy. And doing more running and stuff is not going to help facilitate that. Yeah, you're going to be burning a ton of calories doing more running, or be doing like a lot of these circuit style training and stuff. But we have to remember, when the goal is aesthetics, the primary reason for exercising is not to burn calories. If you want to get ripped, if you want to look good, you have to focus on either maintaining or building lean muscle and shedding body fat. And that comes down to primarily your strength training and what your diet looks like. And then you can use various forms of cardiovascular exercise to help accelerate that a little bit, or to make it so that you can eat a little bit more. But if you get, if you go hog wild with how much cardiovascular exercise you're doing, it starts to have a diminishing return, and then also a negative effect. Because when you're doing a lot of running, you're also increasing levels of catabolic hormones that are anti-building muscle, right? You're also increasing a lot of stress in the body. You're sending a signal to your body that, hey, we need to become more efficient, so let's minimize muscle tissue and muscle mass, right? Whereas the guy who's going out there and doing these long endurance races and stuff, he's trying to get as much calories as he can, more carbohydrates and all this stuff, to be able to perform at his best. So for example, I was reading a book on hybrid athlete training recently, where they're talking about a guy who is a 200 pound weightlifter who wants to also train for endurance events, and he's running let's say 40 miles a week, and then doing 4 hours of strength training per week. He's going to need about 4,500 calories per day and about 900 grams of carbohydrates, because he's not worried about trying to stay ripped and lean, right? He most likely already is that thing, and now he's trying to focus on performance. So that's one of the things that I have issue with the 75 Hard Challenge, is that just pick a random diet. Doesn't matter which diet it is, as long as you adhere to it, right? Well, that's going to set you up for, it might help you lose weight, but it will be at random, right? What if your goal isn't to lose weight? I actually had that problem in the past when I just picked some random diet because I thought it was healthy, and I lost a bunch of muscle mass because I was inadvertently in a calorie deficit when I was doing it. Same thing goes for your exercise plan. Do you need to be working out for an hour and a half every day, right? Do you have the time to be working out for an hour and a half every day, right? So, those are some things you want to consider. So the last point that I want to make before I go into some of my recommendations of what I would do instead is talking about, so number one, what is your goal? What is your reason for doing this, right? Are you trying to just build up mental resilience? Are you trying to just become tough? Or are you trying to actually achieve your fitness goals, right? And then the other thing is, there's a lot of different ways that you can build mental toughness, right? There's a lot of ways that you can become physically tough, right? And oftentimes I'm like, when people say, oh, go do crossword puzzles, go and read books and, do these mind games and play these games or whatever and stuff to exercise your brain. And I'm thinking, doesn't your job already challenge your brain enough? For most people, they're already under a lot of stress at their job. Their brain is already being challenged a lot at their job, right? So what I recommend is, if you're going to try to build mental resilience, first, pick a goal that's actually meaningful to you. If you are, for example, a seasoned weightlifter and you're wanting another challenge, perhaps that would look like training and, prepping for your first bodybuilding show. Because you already have interest in strength training, in bodybuilding, so why not take it to the next level in the direction that you're already going? Same thing if you're a runner, right? If you're a runner, train for your first half marathon, train for your first marathon. It's already something that you enjoy doing. Let's take it up a notch, right? Other thing would be in your career, are you happy at where you are at in life? If not, maybe you need to go to night school or something, right? If you're an entrepreneur, how can you look at your day, at your revenue goals and stuff? Where do you want to take your business? What is the next place you want to go with that? And then challenge yourself to stick to those goals, right? Not just some arbitrary random goals, to just build mental toughness. How about we build mental toughness by going towards a goal that we actually care about? Not just reading books for the sake of reading books. Find books like, you're like, okay, this is my goal. Now I don't have all the information I need to reach that goal. What are the books that I need to learn, to read, to learn more about that topic? And then discipline yourself to read at least 10 pages of that kind of book to get you in the direction that you want to go. It's like Stephen Covey said in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which I talked about before. Begin with the end in mind. Where are you trying to go? Why are you putting yourself through all this stress? Why are you doing all this discipline? If you're going to put yourself through and do hard things, at least do it in a direction that's going to pay off and have a meaningful benefit to you. Not just do hard things just for the sake of doing hard things. All right, guys, so to recap, first and foremost, pick a goal that is meaningful to you. Second, find resources, find literature to read that is going to help you to achieve that goal. When it comes to your workout program, decide, what exactly is my goal? Am I trying to build muscle? Am I trying to lose body fat? Am I trying to improve athletic performance? And then do the research to figure out what you need to do to achieve that specific goal. When it comes to the aspect of diet, right? You also want to have a synergy between your diet plan and your exercise plan. If your goal is to perform better in a sport, you need to have your diet facilitate performance. If your goal is to cut body fat, then you have to have a diet that's going to help you to manage your hunger, manage your cravings, and maintain your lean muscle mass while you are in a calorie deficit, not getting enough calories for your current needs. If, when it comes to water intake, rather than an arbitrary thing like drink a gallon of water a day, the general recommendation is half your body weight in ounces of water, right? But a more effective way is first thing when you wake up in the morning, drink a glass of water. 20 minutes later, drink another glass of water. Then have your breakfast, okay? And then throughout the day, when you get hungry, go ahead and drink some water first. If you're still hungry, then go ahead and have your meal. And in that way, it's a much more accurate way to stay hydrated, right? Because some people are going to need more than that. Some people are going to do less than that. And you can also throw off your electrolyte balance too by drinking too much water. So a gallon of water, if you're 140 pounds versus 240 pounds, I mean, it makes no distinction between the two. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. If you would like a program that kind of lays out how to not only lose body fat, build muscle, but also do it in a way that is going to help you become a better athlete as well, you might want to check out my Hybrid Strength 101 program, a 16-week strength and conditioning style program designed for men over 40 to help them lose 20 pounds of body fat while gaining 5 to 10 pounds of lean muscle and increasing their strength, flexibility, and agility at the same time. If you're interested in that, drop hybrid in the comments below. If you would like to see more content related to athletic performance, aesthetics, preventing injuries, working around injuries should you sustain them, consider subscribing to the channel by hitting the button in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and we'll see you all next time for more health and fitness information.